Hi everybody, welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about Moldavite. It's becoming so... I think I've received about 15 messages this morning. Yesterday, probably about 20, 25 about Moldavite. And can I elaborate on Moldavite? And people enjoy me talking about Moldavite. And I love talking about it. It's one of my favourite topics, subjects, because I've worked with it so long. And the book that I'm writing at the moment, which everybody's waiting for, takes time, and especially with Moldavite because it changes all the time. So we're going to talk about Moldavite, but I'm also going to show you some beautiful pieces. The reason why, because people like to see beautiful and natural Moldavite, not fake. So I'm going to show you some of the most beautiful pieces. I'm going to show you 3 beautiful pieces that I bought from the Czech Republic. I went directly there in a mobile home. A lot of you already saw me walking around looking for Moldavite on the ground because I just like doing these things, just to see if there's anything there, feel the energy there. Yeah, and it was snowing, so it wasn't the best of times, but yeah, I was so lucky. I ended up meeting some amazing people and buying some of the best pieces that they had all their lives. So I bought collections of different people. So I'll show you the first piece here. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see it properly. But as I turn this camera around, you'll be able to see it. Now, you've got to bear in mind that because this is so thick, it's very, very hard to see the colour of it. Maybe if I stand a bit closer here, maybe a little bit there, maybe. Have a look. There, can you see? It's difficult because the thicker the piece of Moldavite, the more difficult it is to see the colour unless you've got a light source in it and you're shining a light in it. When you shine a light in it, you can then see the colour a lot better. This is a blue light. So this is to check the Moldavite, and as I'm putting it on, I'm being very careful. I don't know if I've got... No, probably not. My light is in my other place, but anyway, there you go. There it is. So in my hand, it's a nice big chunk. What weight is this now? Let me have a look. It's nearly 30 grams. So it's from Bajerski, and this is called a hedgehog. Now, when you look at this particular piece under a microscope, you're looking to see if there's any blemishes, any damage. You see if it's chipped anywhere, because Mother Earth over the years has created this unusual effect. So you're looking for any damage. As somebody who buys Moldavite, they want it perfect. This isn't for... This piece is for collectors. So when, like for you and me, I hold this piece in my hand like this and just feel the energy. The fact that it's a hedgehog is that you can feel the little tiny spikes. But for me, it's more of a spiritual energy because from within, it's kicking out. And every single little spike holds an amazing energy, just like when you're holding a wand. That is really powerful, and you can feel it. And placing something like this on your third eye or on your heart or any part of the body, you'll start to feel an energy, a frequency. It's incredible to look at. It's mesmerizing. It's so unusual. And that, my dear friends, is a value of a car, brand new car. that's the price of them now. Now here's another piece, which is again one of my top 5 favorite crystals. And it's a Moldavite piece from Maliclum. And it has an unusual, it's a teardrop, but it has a twist in its tail. Again, a fabulous, fabulous piece. Hard to see, but it's absolutely magnificent. Yep, hard to see. So, again, this is well over 20 grams, probably 25 plus. And you imagine this piece, as the meteor falls and then splashes, as it comes up, it spins in the air and creates a kind of dog bone. And what happens is most of the dog bones were cut. So it should have been this and another section equal. So a lot of Moldavite buyers look for the kind of dumbbells. And I have a dumbbell on my side, which is very beautiful. But these intrigue me most of all because I call these the teardrops. And this is a teardrop, but it has the twist, which makes it extra special and far more valuable. I'm going to show you another piece, which is now probably one of my favorite pieces. It's only very small, it's very thin, but it's absolutely incredible energy. And this piece, again, is from Bajerski, and they call it a hedgehog, as you can see. And all the way around, there is no damage. It's absolutely perfect. And when you hold this, you can feel your body tingling. Lots of sensations are happening. And for me, my greatest understanding of Moldavite, when I'm in the presence of it and it's real and genuine, whether I'm wherever in the world I am, my chest expands and then it contracts. And it feels like I'm trying to get my breath all the time. That is one of my greatest measuring sticks to know whether I'm holding a piece of Moldavite. The other things that happen is sometimes you feel like your body's lifting off the ground. And that's a phenomena with a lot of healers who understand this. But also the tingling or the instant opening up and crying, tears, and the flush. There's something called the flush where you go bright red and so on. You can start feeling very hot and so on. That's just the beginning. From there on, the detox begins. This piece is going to be raffled on my website on the 30th of this month. So anybody who goes to markbajerski.com and buys any crystal, that will transfer into a little tiny note, and that note will go into a little jar over here, and I'll pull out the winner on the 30th. Now, Moldavite is an interesting crystal in many, many ways, and what I try to do is mix and match them. So I have a Moldavite on me now, and it's not 10,000, it's not 5,000, it's not 2,000, it's not 1,000, it's just a small piece, and it's on with a piece of beautiful clear quartz. And that's the Moldavite there. And just at the moment, I'm matching it up with 2 other crystals. I call these donuts. These are beautiful. I love working with them. They're great to work with. So that's a piece of blue. Wow. Just let me just see if you can see it even better. So this is a piece of blue fluoride. Can you see that? It's really hard to see, but it's an absolutely gorgeous crystal. And this is also a beautiful crystal that I love working with over the years. It's very mystical and magical. And this is lunar quartz. So in lunar quartz there is rose quartz with a mixture of smoky quartz. Very beautiful, lovely to handle. And I've been working with these today because we have a pure energy crystal 4-day course. We're on day 2, so I put these on to work with them through the day. Moldavite is a beautiful crystal to match up with any crystal. It's the kind of crystal that when I first started working with it, I was really drawn to working with it with other crystals to see what would happen. Moldavite in itself has its own unique energy and frequency that changes you, heals you, strengthens you, makes you stronger. But then I like to couple it with other crystals. So when I first started the work, I started using it with a really beautiful piece of moonstone. And then I moved on to rainbow moonstone and then pink moonstone. And then from there, I started mixing it with other crystals because at that point, I was doing some really heavy work. Heavy work meaning that people were coming to me with really traumatic issues and sometimes issues that no doctors could understand or psychiatrists. So that was the world of spiritual work. You know, you call it dark energy or you might call it entities. And at that point, I needed a crystal to help me, to ground me, but more so to clear away any negativity that would be the residue after a healing session. So I moved on to using one of these, which is also a tektite. And this is a beautiful black tektite. It's actually, when you look under the microscope, it's not black, but it looks like black. When you shine a light, it kind of looks different, a different color. And there's so many tektites, but this particular one I held with me, and then I started wearing it around my neck as I do daily. Here's a beautiful tektite with Libyan desert glass. So as I started matching them, and actually this beautiful piece of golden healer, I used to have a piece of this mounted with Moldavite, and that was a terrific energy, really powerful. And then there were days that I'd want to feel more healing from people's pain and suffering who had lost family members. And then I'd find myself being very close to crystals that were pulling me towards them with Moldavite, which could have been black tourmaline. And then I probably take this piece here, which is a beautiful obsidian. So I'd work with so many different types. So going back to Moldavite, first of all, with Moldavite, in my opinion, when people mount or people work with a hedgehog, I think for me the most profound thing that I ever saw and felt was a healer that was in America, and I met up with him and we were going to do some healing together, and within 15 or 20 minutes he had a hedgehog around him, a bit like this, a little bit like this, but it was a bit damaged, broken, but it had all the hedgehogs, all the spikes everywhere. And as he came to me and gave me a hug, and I remember him, and a lot of these spiritual people do this, no, heart to heart. So I grab him this way, no, this way. So, and then I felt like 1,000 laser beams hitting me. And I looked down, I went, my God, that's a hedgehog. You've got a hedgehog on. He said, yeah. You feel it? I said, I just did. And I think that made me realize at the beginning of my journey with Moldavite that hedgehogs have this energy that, like all beautiful crystals, pointers, they blast this laser energy at you and you can feel it. So Maliclum is a little bit different because you've got the sphere itself, which is blasting an energy out, which is a full energy. So if you imagine, say, a sphere like this, creating light from all the sphere, then it's producing one light. If you imagine that was a light bulb inside, you'd produce a light, right? And it would shine everywhere. Whereas this, if there was a light inside, you'd find it would be just little tiny points firing, blasting, like in a discotheque, and firing lights. That's how I see it. So people often say to me, do I need a big piece of Moldavite? Well, if you have a room and there is a light in this, just let me see if I can go to this. If you're in a clear room and there's just one seat in that room, and the room is there's nothing in it and it's pitch black, and you were to put a light inside here, a shiny black light, it would blast the room with light, right? Makes sense. Now, if I was to take this rose quartz and put a light inside there and blast the room, the only difference would be the size of it, in the sense of the light in and around this huge piece. But this piece is equal to the light that it gives off. So the difference is the size only, but it gives off the light. So there's not that much difference between a big piece of Moldavite, like a Maliclum, and a small piece. It will still give off the same energy. I'm not so sure if I've explained that rightly to you, but it's not the size with Moldavite. It never has been. So I will work with a little piece like this, which is like 0.9 grams. So 0.9 gram, or 1.4, 1.5. And as I work with that Moldavite, I find myself feeling more and more drawn into the energy of the Moldavite rather than its size. I feel like something's happening to me, and the connection is happening with the outside world, with the worlds within worlds. And it's like when you sit and meditate over the years, you start to realize that each Moldavite has a unique purpose. Each Moldavite is fantastic, but it still comes from the same mother stone. It still comes from the same place. It still has the same frequency. So many people ask me the question about Moldavite. What's the difference between the different areas where you find Moldavite? Does that Moldavite work differently? So the only thing I ever understood about the difference between Moldavite and where it comes from, so Maliclum, Clum, or Bajerski, is the shape and the form. So that's the only thing. I think all Moldavites are fascinating. I love them all. And there is an argument, and there always will be, that each piece of Moldavite did something different. But then I can also counter that by saying, well, maybe that piece of Moldavite healed a certain thing that you needed healing, and now you found another piece of Moldavite, and that Moldavite is now moving on to the next part of your healing process. It's like, you know, a lot of people say to me, Mark, my Moldavite doesn't work anymore. Well, maybe you are okay at the moment. Maybe what needs to be healed has been healed, and now the Moldavite is just allowing you to rest, and now it's your time to crack on and do things. And all of a sudden, the Moldavite, after 6 months, you put it back on again, it'll just start to work again. You thought, oh my God, it's working. So maybe what's happening is through the day, everything that you do, everything that you feel, and everything that Mother Earth gives you, everything that you eat, drink, your surroundings, the people that you're with, sometimes you can open up to different energies all the time. So a Moldavite will help that. Depending on how aware you are, how powerful you are, how strong you are, how sensitive you are, how empathic you are, is that what tells you whether the Moldavite's working? Because how would you know if you don't feel? But that doesn't mean it's not working. So that's why I always say to people, keep it on. Yeah, but it's hurting me, keep it on. Yeah, but it's not working, keep it on. And then you might come back to me and say, oh, guess what? Yeah, I know you're going to tell me your Moldavite's working again. Yeah, right. But maybe it was working when you thought it wasn't working. One of the things in pure energy healing we teach is that the most powerful point of healing is when nothing is being felt. And people look at me confused. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, how do you know? How do you know that a client who comes to you, who's been led to you and they're lying down and you put a Moldavite on them and they don't feel anything for the first 30 minutes, that 30 minutes was the most challenging and most powerful energy work with the Moldavite and you to break through, to bore your way through to the sensitivity, to the healing. A lot of the times when we're hurt, whether we're a child and our mother didn't love us or our father beat us, or we were in a relationship and they cheated on us, what we did and what we do is we try to protect ourselves and we kind of build walls around our heart or around our energy field or around our head, and we keep building this invisible wall. And this wall gets thicker and thicker every time we get slapped. Every time somebody does something awful, we just keep building it and keep reinforcing that invisible wall by saying that people are awful. You know, why are people like this? And you're protecting yourself by doing it. But all at the same time, what you're doing is you're causing great harm to yourself because nobody can get in. And you won't allow for the magic to come in because of the pain that you've suffered. So as a healer, when we work with Moldavite, one of the things it does is it's like them big machines that bore into mountains. So soon as the Moldavite gets put onto you, it starts boring into that wall, them 50 walls or 100 walls, the invisible ones that you created. You know, the same ones when you say, well, if somebody wants me, then they're going to have to work hard to get me. They're going to have to break these walls down. Well, Moldavite does that. It breaks the walls down. And that's why a lot of the times it can take a day, a week, a month, and sometimes a couple of years. Because you can't fix something that you've been damaged all your life till you're 50 years old, and then all of a sudden you put a Moldavite and don't feel anything. Maybe 50 years takes a little bit of time for Moldavite to work. Sometimes you're ready instantly, and sometimes it's boom and you can feel it instantly and you just break down and you're exhausted and you feel like, well, I should be feeling good. No, when you're breaking down the walls, that takes a lot of effort, and without even knowing, you can actually feel exhausted at the end of it. Sometimes you can feel like you fall asleep for 24 hours. This is very normal. When healing with crystals, it's very normal with Moldavite and so on and so on. So it's a fascinating crystal when you start to work with it with other crystals. One of the things I love working with is in the past was with my clients, and I had 3 pieces of Moldavite, 2 in the palms and 1 on the third eye. And then I'd mix and match certain crystals for the stomach or, solar plexus, all the power points, and then begin my healing work, or just leave my client just to rest there with the crystals on. And that was a fascinating outcome, always fascinating. So working with Moldavite, the greatest places you can, in my opinion, work in the areas that make the biggest impact to begin with is definitely the third eye. It's always, if I always get a guy who might be a scientist or a big butch guy who owns a company and he's not interested in any of this, I've been told to come by my wife, just lay them down and put a piece of Moldavite on their third eye and just start the healing work, and you'll find at the end of it sometimes no words are said, and you can see that this guy is obviously in kind of shock because he can't explain what's just happened, but what he saw, what he felt was so profound that he ends up coming back again every few weeks. And that was very normal in my world. Changing the minds and hearts and of stubborn, egoistic, downright pride-ridden grown men to dissipate that, and it disappears, and then a whole new world exists. And from being hard and difficult, they become light and kinder and softer. And I had many children who used to say, my daddy's much happier now. That was really lovely. And that was with Moldavite a lot of the times. So Moldavite has this great energy of clearing away the damage. Most of us are damaged goods, to be honest. Most of us carry baggage. But I find, and I think I wrote about this in The Power of Moldavite, about, you know, the baggage that we carry, and that Moldavite has this great ability of lightening the load. So it's a fascinating, fascinating crystal in so many ways. I hope this short video serves you well. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll keep talking about Moldavite because people really enjoy it. Keep the questions coming, and I'll answer them if I have experience on the topic that you give me on Moldavite. I enjoy it. I love talking about it. I could talk about it for months, you know. I could talk about it for years, as I have done. So on a final note, just to remind you again, my website is markbajerski.com, link it below. Enjoy the shop. Just have a look, enjoy it. And if there's a crystal that jumps out at you and you think, that feels lovely, just like you go into a museum and see something lovely in the museum, or you go to an art gallery and there's a picture that screams out at you. There's normally a message in that picture. There's normally something in that, and that's the same with crystals. Crystals choose you. So if there's a crystal that you like and you end up buying a crystal, whether it's a Moldavite from my website or any of the hundreds and hundreds of crystals that I've worked with, if you buy one up until the 30th, it will transform into a ticket. So you'll get your crystal, but I'll get a ticket. If you buy one crystal, you get one ticket. If you buy two crystals, you get two tickets, and so on. And them tickets will go into a bowl. And on the 30th, at some point, mid-afternoon, I'm going to pull out one name to win this beautiful Moldavite Bajerski museum grade hedgehog. So good luck. I'll link it below, and once again, thank you for enjoying the beautiful topic of Moldavite. Have a great day. Take care.